Congratulations, you have $10,000 in your bank account. Now what? Do you invest it or save it? My name is Darius.
I'm Carmen, and let's just jump right into the points because we want to know what we need to do with this money. So we have two options for you. And the very first question I'm going to ask you before we jump into these two options is this money recurring? Recurring meaning, are you going to see the $10,000 more consistently? Does it come every month, every 6 months, every year? I don't know. Is it reoccurring? If the answer is no, then that means we might need to save this money. Now, how do we know that we need to save this money, Darius?
Well, first of all, we need to think about the habits that we have, because the very first thing we need to be doing is we need to be paying ourselves first. So regardless of where the money's coming from, we need to make sure we have good habits in place, because we can build on those habits. If we have bad habits, we're going to build on that.
Yeah.
So in this event, we want to also make sure that we have 3 to 6 months of savings, because things happen, things come up where we may have a flat tire, may have a medical expense, we may even have a loss of income, and we want to make sure that we're able to tap into cash rather than going to even more debt to make sure we can take care of ourselves and our families.
Yeah. Now this question came up because we had one of our clients that said, "Hey, Carmen and Darius, if I have cash inside my whole life insurance policy, should I use that to pay down my debt or should I use it to invest?" And just that question alone, we said, you know what, let's have this conversation with the entire YouTube audience and determine what makes sense for you. Right. So in this scenario, like Darius was just saying, if it makes sense for you to save the money, the check and balances that you need to know is, do I have 3 to 6 months of my income in a savings account? And it's just as simple as that. If I have that money, then let's talk about investing. But if we don't have that money, then we need to be focused on building a solid foundation so that we have that money should we need it for emergencies or anything that comes up.
Right. And then another thing that comes to mind is, even separate from our 3 to 6 months of savings, if we have a short-term goal like going on vacation or getting a large purchase like a new car or something, you want to make sure that you have your savings for that.
Yeah. And we're thinking about these separately, right? So you're going to have a pot of money for your 3 to 6 months, and then you're going to have a pot of money for your travel or a pot of money for your new car or whatever it is, right? Because we want to make sure that these things are separate. You have different buckets of money doing different things that you need it to do. And this is how you are able to alleviate having the issue of tapping into credit, charging it, right, every single time that you need something because you don't have the savings set up. And that's how we get into debt. That's why we have the problem, is because we don't have savings, or we don't have a plan for our money to say, this amount of money every single month for my paycheck is going to go towards my next vacation. This amount of money every single month is going to go towards that new appliance that I need. Whatever it is, it's just about creating a plan. So that's how we wanted to just lay the groundwork for you today.
Right. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with credit. You can leverage credit, especially when you have good habits in place. Now, those large purchases or vacation, we want to make sure that we take those vacations or use it within 1 to 2 years, because here's something to take into consideration. If we just have money sitting in there with no purpose whatsoever, is something called inflation. In 3 to 5 years, that money that you have sitting inside your bank account, that $10,000, isn't going to have the same buying power that it will 5 years from now. So that's something to take into consideration, because if that's us, then investing is going to be the thing that we need to consider, because investing not only allows us to keep up with inflation, but it also allows us to grow our money.
And that's a phenomenal point. Just to reiterate, if you have money in the bank, it is not about just sitting on it. Because what we need to do as we transition into the investing conversation is recognizing that investing allows our money to be at work and not people at work, meaning us at work. And we're going to utilize our savings, our income, as the seed money that we need to start taking over our need for income in the first place, because we're going to allow our investments to be the leverage that we need to leave corporate America or to retire or to have extra cash flow that we need. That's the name of the game when it comes to investing.
So here's how you can start getting your money to work for you: is you have to think long term, and I'm talking beyond the 3 to 5 years. And what you have to take into consideration is what I'm even passionate about. What do I enjoy doing? What kind of side hustle that I can I create that I'm inspired to do long term? And when I say side hustle, I'm talking about a business. You can take the additional savings that you have above and beyond your 3 to 6 months and put that into a business, your side hustle, so that you can start creating cash flow, because that's the whole point of a business, is so that business can start creating cash flow rather than it sitting somewhere like a nest egg, like your 3 to 6 months. The next thing is real estate. We all live in a house. Real estate is an asset class on its own because there's so many different ways to where we can get into real estate, be it REITs, real estate investment trusts, be it buying holes, whatever it is. But it has to be something that you're passionate about. And that $10,000 may not be the thing that is going to get you to buy a whole house, but it's going to get you started in that asset class. Another asset class is paper assets. Paper assets are like index funds, individual stocks, bonds, and even life insurance, because we're thinking about building cash value in our whole life insurance so that we can borrow against it in the future and buy even more assets. We're also thinking about the fourth asset class, which is commodities, gold, silver, agriculture, energy, oil, gas. I said oil twice, but you get the point in what I'm saying. Like, there's so many things that we have the opportunity to make money from. I think a lot of times we get overwhelmed. So what we have to start with is what we're passionate about, or what we think we'll be passionate about. And then we start down that journey with the funds that we do have. Because again, $10,000 isn't a lot of money to do something with, but it's a more than enough money to get started with something.
Yeah, and the point that Darius just illustrated is you have to be true to yourself with this whole process, because this is going to be a commitment. And it's really easy these days. What we find is, what your mom is doing, what your brother's doing, what your sister's doing, and maybe they're all into it, but you may not have the heart for it. So you have to make sure that you are passionate, like Darius said, about what it is that you're doing, because where we find investments go wrong is when we don't have the desire to track and manage and stay up to date and educate ourselves on this particular investment, right? So for example, for me, like, I have no desire to invest in oil and gas today. So if Darius came to me and said, Carmen, put your $10,000 in oil and gas, it might sound amazing because you say like, oh, you'll get 30, 40, 50% return, whatever it is. And I'm just making this up as the example for today. But the point is like, I put my money in and then I'm like, I have no desire to track or manage or know what's going on. And that's where we start to make mistakes, is because we don't take ownership in the things that we're investing in. Now, let's address the point of like, I only have maybe $10,000 to invest. The point is, you have to understand, get in where you fit in. What is the category or the asset class that you want to start investing in, and figuring out what are the entry points, where are the ways that you can get started. When Darius and I first started investing in real estate, we didn't have, hundreds of thousands of dollars to invest in real estate. We didn't even have any money to invest in real estate. So we had to start figuring out, if we want to invest in real estate, how can we get involved? How can we get in the game? How can we start learning and working with people and mentorship and tutelage and whatever it is, so we can figure out where we can place our $2. And that's when we recognized the beauty of using OPM, other people's money. We didn't even use our own money to start investing in real estate, because we said, we can use your money to invest in real estate, get you a return, then we can split the difference, because we know the investors, you don't, and now we can make a win-win situation for everybody together. So it's all about these creative ways, and especially like in real estate, can you pay for someone's closing costs up front, because maybe they don't have that? Can you have
which we did. No, we didn't pay for closing costs. What we did is we paid for rehab with our $10,000.
Yeah,
so that was our entry point. That's why $10,000 is like keep showing up in these videos, is because $10,000 has went a long way for us in our specific situations and how we decide to leverage it.
Yeah, and that's why we're having this conversation, because we recognize that everyone has to start somewhere. And you watching this video may not have hundreds of thousands of dollars today to start investing, but we want you to know that you have the ability to start making small wins, right? Base hits every single day, just with as little as $5,000, as little as $1,000. If you start investing in yourself and start educating and getting involved in programs and masterminds or whatever it is, I mean, that's going to be the seed money that's just going to allow you to reap so many benefits. I can't tell you how much money we've spent in education by just investing in ourselves, that has allowed us to create our business, our YouTube channel, mix and mingle with so many other creatives who are able to do amazing things. And it's because we have the mindset now, because of the education that we took the time to invest in for ourselves.
Right. And the only way education pays off is if you decide to use it. There's a lot of times that we get education and we just have it sit on the shelf in our brain and don't use it. That's not a good usage of your money if you don't plan on using it. So it has to be the application of the information that you have and how you use it, which allows that investment to really pay off. Now, in this video, I don't want you to think that it's a either or thing. There can also be a balance where if you have $10,000, you can save $5,000. And like Carmen said, $1,000 to $5,000, you can then take those funds and invest. So it's really a conversation that you need to have with yourself about your risk tolerance. Whether or not you're going to use this for a short-term goal or long-term wealth building strategies is totally up to you.
And we have many people that are creative enough where they're like, you know what, I'm not even going to save the 3 to 6 months. I'm just going to go straight to investing and Robert Kiyosaki allow my investments to pay for everything else, right? So we understand that there's so many different people on this financial spectrum. Right? There's some people that are just going to want that foundation and see it in their bank account because that makes them sleep at night. There's other people, like Darius said, that can move it up a notch and they can have a balance. They can take $5,000, save it, $5,000, invest it. And then there's going to be some people that are on the other end of it where they're like, I'm just going to take the full 10 and make my money start working for me immediately. So you have to figure out where you are on the scale. There is no right or wrong answer. It's just what you are comfortable with. But the point is for you to have this information. Every time you get this money, you should start thinking about strategy. What am I going to do with this money to get ahead so that I can stay out of consumer debt and I can start creating cash flow?
Right. Because whether you decide to save or invest, the key is to make sure your money is working for you. So take control of your financial future and protect yourself today and set yourself up for success tomorrow. And if you found this video helpful, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you can be notified with new videos. And speaking of new videos, make sure you check out our next video where we talk about how to use whole life insurance to build wealth.
Remember to own your own lifestyle,
or someone else will.